Rogers TV.
Hello everyone, and welcome to another episode of Out of the Fog. I'm your host, Laurabel, and on today's episode we are going to be focusing on community organizations. We're going to be celebrating an organization that recently received a grant from Rogers Youth Grant Network, and we're also going to be celebrating and introducing you to a local community organization you might not know about. In 2024, Rogers launched the Youth Grant Program, which awards $3 million in cash and in-kind media to Canadian youth serving organizations throughout the country. And we were lucky to have one of the local organizations that won, Thrive Youth Community Serving Network, to receive $10,000 for an education program. So later today, I get the chance to sit and talk with Angela Crockwell, who's the executive director of Thrive, to see what they're going to be using their funding to do. I also got the chance to sit and talk to Jesse and John, who are part of a local community network called Operation Open Door, which is based out of Carbonear, and we get to talk about what that organization is doing to serve their local community. So sit back, relax, and we'll get right to it. Welcome back, everyone. I'm now joined by Angela Crockwell, who is the Executive Director of Thrive, and we're going to be getting into some exciting news. So, Angela, thank you for joining me, and congratulations on receiving the $10,000 from Rogers for youth programming. I'm so excited to talk about what you guys have planned for it.
Thanks so much for having me.
So, with this $10,000 from Rogers, can you tell me a little bit more about what this particular grant is going to support with Thrive?
Sure. So, this particular grant is for our education program. So we provide educational services for young people between the ages of 16 to 29 who didn't make it through the regular school system. So we offer a continuum of supports from foundational literacy and numeracy through to a high school equivalency. It used to be the GED, but we're in a transition period right now where we're switching over to a Canadian version, but it allows people to get a high school equivalency. And that program serves about 100 young people a year. Not only do we offer we have 2 teachers that provide instruction, but we also have an outreach worker recognizing that a lot of young people who need to be successful in their education might also need support around other non-academic issues, housing, mental health, substance use, violence, food insecurity, all the other issues. So the outreach worker also really does the support around helping young people address those issues as well.
So it's not just go to school, get your certificate, be done, but you guys approach it from a holistic fashion.
Yes, absolutely. It is a really unique program in that we really strive to meet young people where they are. Not every young person is, academically at the same level, so we actually tailor each education program for the young person so that they can find success. And we also offer, for some young people who might come into the program and have significant social phobias or mental health issues, they might need one-on-one instruction for a little bit, and we will accommodate that. And our class sizes is up to 4.
Okay.
So it's very individualized and, as you said, very holistic wraparound supports. When young people come into the program, this is a space where it's we got you, and you can absolutely find success in this program.
So as someone who's worked in the community sector, specifically working with young people for so long, why would you say a program like this is so needed within our community?
Yeah, so the regular school system, obviously is for most people. But not everybody finds success there. And when you look at some of the programs or services for people who didn't get a high school diploma, most of them are for adults 18 plus. While we do serve that population, we're unique in terms of being able to also support people 16, 17, and 18 years old. And so that really fills a gap for people who, if they left high school 14, 15, and have to wait till they're 18 or 19 to access some alternative education program, then a lot can happen in that period for them. So we created this program specifically to address that gap. But I also think that wraparound supports that flexible schedule. We're not full-time, so if you're parenting, if you have a part-time job, this allows people to step their toe back in and build their confidence with their educational goals. And for some young people, they'll come to our program and then they might consider returning to high school. They might consider going to do an ABE program, or they might stay with us to pursue their high school equivalency.
So I'm going to go back to, once again, your experience in the not-for-profit community. We always know that not-for-profits say every dollar matters.
Yes.
And so with Rogers giving $10,000, what is the impact, like in terms of how many people are we probably going to see being able to be served by this program?
Yeah, and you're right. Every dollar matters. And our education program really does not, receives about 20% of our operational funding from government. So we really rely on the community and corporations like Rogers to be supportive, and we've actually had a long history of Rogers supporting our educational programs over many, many years. They've been a great corporate partner for us. As I said, we support about 100 young people a year. That's both through the outreach and education components. So this funding really allows us to make sure we have high-skilled, qualified teachers in that classroom to be able to provide that support, but it also means we're able to address some of those non-academic issues. A lot of young people face challenges with transportation. We want to make sure we have some good snacks and meals available because a lot of people are struggling with food security. So with this funds, it allows us not only to have the capacity to maintain our staffing complement, but also to make sure if people need a bus pass to get to school, if people show up hungry, there's food available. Those kinds of things as well is incredibly important.
And so we know when you support a young person, you don't just support that individual, you support the entire community in which they're connected to. Yeah. So if you don't mind sharing, I'd love to know how successful this has been for some of the people who've been through this program before.
There are so many success stories. I mean, one that we always kind of brag about, when we were doing the GED, and again, there's a transition period right now to a Canadian version. When we looked at the national statistics for the pass rate for GED, we were always the highest in the country. So our success rate in terms of getting people through that testing program is significant. But also, once people have that, the support to be able to move on. So one of our recent grads from last year decided he wanted to start his own business, and so now is an entrepreneur and doing very, very well. We had another young person who wanted to do a trade, and as of the Christmas marks or the holiday marks that was released, is the highest in their class.
Oh, wow.
So it really, as you said, it not only changes the lives for the young people we're supporting, but it does has broader impacts on the community, and for particularly the young people we see who are parenting, it is a game changer for not only themselves, but their family, their children. To even hear people say, I can now read a book to my child. All of those things, obviously getting a post-secondary diploma or degree is amazing, but also being able to sit and read to your kids and support them in their homework, also amazing.
As a mom myself, I know the importance of that story time isn't just about passing on the education, but a time to bond with your child. So it's allowing, when you're helping them build resiliency and knowing that they can get through it. The system might not have been for them, but doesn't mean that they're not equipped to work and be people who contribute to the society that they're in a way that pulls on their own skills. So it's amazing to know that this program does this. So Rogers is quoted as saying, investing in Canada's youth is an investment in Canada's future. Looking at the state of our future, do you agree that this is something that we do need to continue to do?
Yes, absolutely. When you think about the outcomes, there's a lot of talk, obviously, around the social determinants of health in our province right now. And when we think about long-term health for people, we know education is such a foundational piece of that. It will impact people's mental health, employment, physical health outcomes. So finding ways to support people with their educational goals is such an incredible return on investment. So the work that Rogers, the Youth Fund, does to be able to support education has such a trickle effect, because it's not just that young person, as we talked about. It is the broader community, it is families, it is long-term health outcomes.
So I know people who are watching this probably know of someone in their family, in their community, in their network who could potentially avail of this programming. So where do we go? How do we bridge that barrier so they know how to get in contact with Thrive to be part of this program if it's something that's of interest to them?
Yeah, so the easiest way is to go to our website, which is www.thrivecyn.ca. And there's a link there around our education program. It would actually have the referral form, but it also has the contact numbers for our staff in that program that people can just pick up the phone and call. We do ongoing intake. Because it's not like you start in September and you go through the year, and we only do intake. So if somebody is looking for supports now, then they can fill out that form and get connected to the program.
Angela, thank you so much for joining me. Congratulations again to your organization and for all the great work that you do in supporting at-risk youth who are in our communities in such a competent and caring and holistic fashion. So thank you so much for taking the time.
Thanks for having me.
It's been a pleasure, and shout out to Rogers for continuing to invest in community organizations and continuing to support local, because it does have an impact beyond just the dollars they bring in.
Absolutely.
And we'll see you again soon.
Yes.
All right, and we'll be right back, everyone. Welcome back, everyone. I'm now joined by Jesse Brown and John Haggett, who are part of Project Open Door. Jesse and John, thank you so much for joining me.
Thanks for having us.
Super excited to have you here.
Thank you.
For our guests and viewers who are watching who don't know what Project Open Door is, I guess, Jesse, what's Project Open Door?
Probably the best way to describe Project Open Door is sort of to backtrack a little bit. Project Open Door sort of got its evolution from a small faith community in Carbonear called Open Door, and that's been active for the last 13 years. And over those 13 years, even prior to that, before me, I was involved with community outreach, and one of the things that we've been doing is storing furniture, collecting furniture, storing furniture, delivering furniture to people, passing that on to people who have struggles with meeting the needs of home and things like that. And so over the years, we've been doing that for the last 13 years. And clothing has come with that, and other needs that people may have, whether it's food and so on. And so that little faith community in Carbonear called Open Door has been supporting that and helping it make its way. But something happened during COVID that we weren't expecting, but things changed, and financially that little faith community is not as strong, and it's not able to sustain the things that we used to do. But what we found is that the needs just get more and more and more. We've been serving immigrant families, people with struggling with financial issues, and we support women coming out of O'Shaughnessy House, and those needs just keep getting greater and greater. And we found that we just couldn't sustain it. And so we developed a not-for-profit called Project Open Door to help people as well with those same concerns, but to reach out and to seek funding to be able to help this, because we were really struggling with this. So that's where we are. Project Open Door is a not-for-profit that seeks to raise the issues concerning poverty and mental health and addictions and so on in our area, and to help meet some of the basic needs that people have.
Awesome. And so for you, John, as this project has evolved and changed from starting as a faith-based community project and then opening to a larger community project, what are the hopes and dreams for this organization based on where it is now and where it looks to go?
Well, we don't forget that we help people at their most vulnerable time. And even in the shutdown of COVID, we managed over 250 deliveries and pickups of furniture alone. We have a truck and we go out there and we get the goods and we store them, clean them, and deliver them back to those that need them. They're all donations. Everything we do is at the community's generosity, and we're grateful for that. What we want to continue doing is to keep this going. This is a work of love. There's no pay here other than food for your soul, and that's what's happening here. Is we've got the group, we've got our group that's running it, we've got the community that's supporting it, and we've got a truck, and we've got some other assets. And gas isn't free, so we get a few pennies here and there from people, and from we used to get from the Open Door, and now we're on our own, and we're proud to be on our own because we're doing more. We've actually covered, our area is covering CBN, Conception Bay North, all the way up to top of Old Purlican there, all the way down to Avondale and over to Whitburn. So we're all that peninsula of the one side of Trinity Bay and the other side of Conception Bay, we're looking after everything in the middle there. So there's a need is there. It does not stop growing, and we're continuing with this ambitious effort to deliver services to people in what they need, what the community needs, and it's being defined by us well. Unfortunately, at this time of people's needs, they're talking and they're saying, "I need help with this, I need this," and we're doing our best to not to solve every problem. We're not solving problems. We're providing tools and resources for people to do that.
So we are in a time where volunteerism has been heavily how the not-for-profit and community sector has run. And we're also in a time where a lot of people want to volunteer and want to contribute to organizations like yours, but don't even know the first place to start. So as an organization that is heavily, if not completely, volunteer-run and volunteer-focused, what are some of the ways that people can support the work that you're doing and contribute and help your growth?
One of the things that certainly we're aware of, and over the years, is that we haven't had any type of government funding or corporate funding or anything like that. As I said at the beginning, all the work of Project Open Doors come from the small faith-based community, and as the needs get greater, we realize that when our truck stops to pick up furniture and things like that, needs are identified. And quite often, we just have to leave that and move on to pick up some more furniture. So one of our dreams is that we hope to establish a group of people peer counselor or non-clinical peer support workers to train a group of these people that can be engaged in connecting with people and sort of following up with some of the needs that we see. So that's one of the things we're hoping to train people, to get funding, to be able to train people to be peer support in the community. So that's one of the things we're going to be looking for.
Awesome.
Yeah.
And John, do you have any feedback on what that means for you?
I think the key thing Jesse just mentioned was the training. We have lots of jobs to do, which most charities are in that position, or most groups have the work, but they don't have the qualified work, and that's everywhere you hear that. So our intention is to get these people trained in the appropriate courses that will provide the services. You don't really need a course on how to lift a chair into a truck on the moving side of it, but when you're doing peer-to-peer support from a non-clinical point of view, you have to have some training, and we're providing that. We've joined forces with groups like the Canadian Association of Mental Health, and we're getting the professional training that our volunteers need, and that's quite different. Is that the people that we're going to be coming from our volunteer programs certified in what they're going to be doing, so they're not just off the street as such. We're giving them the tools so they continue to do the work.
And I think as well as John is indicating, we're hoping to be able to get our own building, to be able to not only store furniture, but also to refurbish the furniture as well. So to train some volunteers to be able to come in and to help do that. Also to a place to store clothing. We have a network of people now that do that, and it's all free of charge. There isn't any fee to pick up. There isn't any fee for clothing or anything else. We meet the needs as we see them. So having some of that housed, all of that housed under one roof will be a wonderful thing for us.
So for our viewers who are watching now who are like, I have connections to the communities that you serve. I want a way that I can give back to help make the work you do more effective, to help it last longer, to make sure that you are able to stay on the road with the trucks that deliver and pick up furniture, to make sure that you're able to store the clothing that goes out to communities and folks that are in need. What are some ways they can contribute to the work that you're doing?
Well, there's three focuses on our project. One is the furniture, and that's at refurnishnl.com. There's a website there they can check out, and it tells you how to give furniture and how to get furniture if you need it. And it's all screened, and we take gently used furniture that can be loved by somebody else. That's what we look at. And we have the clothing thing is very low to the surface. It's very active for us, but it's not something that we publicly go out and solicit. That's handled on the phone at 709-687-5496. That's our main information number for the whole Project Open Doors. And then of course there's peer-to-peer support groups. That involves training as well. We're welcome to train professionals, but we're not pretending to be clinical and professionals. We're just taking the training that we have to do support of those groups, and that is being developed ongoing as we speak, just to put these groups together of peer-to-peer so that they can communicate and get what they need out of the system.
So I got you for about 1 minute. So if people are looking to find out more information about how they get involved, John, what is that number again to reach out to you?
709-687-5496.
Thank you so much to both of you. I know the work you do is so important to the communities that you serve, and if there's any way our viewers can support you, I know they're going to do their very best to reach out. So thank you so much for your time. I really appreciate it.
Thank you for having us.
Thank you for having us.
No worries. And we'll be right back, everyone.
Your opinion matters, and we want to hear from you. Get in touch with us using our viewer feedback line, your direct connection to shaping the shows you love. It's easy. Just grab your phone, scan the QR code on your screen, and take our quick survey. Share your thoughts, and let's make your viewing experience even better.
I want to thank all of you for tuning in yet again. It's always a pleasure getting to share time and space with you. I want to give a very special thank you to my guests for joining me. Thank you to John and Jesse from Project Open Door to sharing what they're doing to support their community. And if you're interested in supporting them, feel free to check out Project Open Door on Facebook. And I want to give a very special thank you and congratulations again to Angela Crockwell, the Executive Director of Thrive, for winning a $10,000 grant from Rogers Community Support to support their educational program serving at-risk youth in our community. Thank you so much for tuning in, and I can't wait to see all of you again next time.
This program is brought to you by Rogers Xfinity, connecting you to more of what you love. Visit Rogers.com for more details.
We want to hear from you. Provide feedback on this show or find out how you can get involved. Call, email us, or scan the QR code to take our quick survey.
For me, it all started here.
I do my best work here.
Scores! Oh my goodness! This guy's dangerous from here, here, and here.
We're watching history in the making here.
And our fans are up here. I'm here for it. It's all about what's up here and what's in here.
Sportsnet, here for hockey.
My name is Chase Nicholas. I am a Mi'kmaq hockey player. Growing up, I always remember my family talking about the Mi'kmaq as the creators of the game of hockey. In grade 7, I did research on Mi'kmaq hockey sticks as the first sticks of the NHL. I found a Mi'kmaq hockey stick made in 1917, the same year the NHL was formed. I was surprised to find out the very stick I was holding was made by my great-great-grandfather, Alexander Cope. In 1934, an elder known as Old Joe Cope wrote a letter to the Halifax Herald claiming the Mi'kmaq created hockey. I found out later that I am a direct descendant of Old Joe Cope. There was a time when Mi'kmaq children were torn from their families and not allowed to speak their language, losing their words and stories. But the stories are coming back to us. Stepping on the ice, I take pride knowing the roots of the game of hockey stem from my ancestors in the Mi'kmaq Nation.
The regulars, the guys who keep this place in business. Last week,